Caitlin, and I am an author of a Kindle Vella novel that is currently available on Kindle Vella, as I said, and it's called Villainess From the Stars, and there's currently 9 available episodes. So first three are free. So anyways, I thought to introduce myself, I would do the Authortube Newbie Tag. So the first one is, what's your book's pitch? If you have multiple works, choose your favorite. So I'm going to do Villainess From the Stars, since it is my current one. Vienna Thorne didn't know that with a single look they would be able to discover her secret. What she did know was that the caretakers told her a violent death or being taken advantage of would lead to everything imploding. She didn't want to cease to exist again. Life as Vienna Thorne had at last given her a family. Yeah. If you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? I would say I'm an eccentric daydreamer that dreams of far-off lands and far-off galaxies, always creating new stories upon her mind and being off in a far-off world. What do you usually write? I usually write sci-fi fantasy with adventure and mystery and discovery. The romance is usually a subplot because I like focusing on the people, and so, you know, when the romance comes, it's natural to their current story. So that's kind of, I wouldn't say I'm a romance writer, I'm a sci-fi fantasy writer. I also have been known to write steampunk sci-fi fantasy, which was fun. That was my first novel I ever completed, was a first draft only, was a steampunk sci-fi. What's something you'll never write? Probably paranormal romance, like with ghosts or that kind of thing. That's not, you're never gonna see me writing anything with ghosts or things that paired with ghosts, because just fun. I do like thrillers though. I like psychological thrillers, so that's different to me. Probably no horror either, but occasionally I will read zombie apocalypse stories, but I don't know if I'd ever write one. Let's see. For starting an Authortube channel, I would like to join in the community, but also create my own community of wonderful, eccentric daydreamers that are like me, writing sci-fi fantasy. Also, I'm trying to reach out to specifically chronic illness warriors who are searching for books that they can read that even when they're not feeling well. That's kind of my goal of writing Villainess From the Stars, was writing a web novel-like story, because I personally have chronic illness, migraines, chronic fatigue, among other things, and I find that when I have severe brain fog, I can't read physical books, which is so sad. And so I discovered web novels, and the simplicity of how they were written really drew me in, and I was able to read so many. So I wanted to kind of, what I learned from the mistakes of others, I wanted to create sci-fi fantasy worlds where someone could get into it very deeply, but still at the same time not feel overwhelmed either by anxiety or brain fog. That is what I'm looking for. Number 6, what made you want to start writing? Now, these kind of questions always are hard for me, because I've been writing since I was little, and I think that's true with, I mean, a lot of daydreamers, is they've been creating stories in their minds like since they were make-believing. That's how I've always been, ever since I was little. And I've been writing stories as soon as I could write paragraphs, so I don't really know how to answer that one. Let's see. Number 7, what's your publishing path? Well, as I'm on Kindle Vella, it's a serialized platform that you can read books via Kindle, and it's a separate thing. And then I'm thinking of possibly publishing some of the future in the Starlight Secrets Chronicles through KDP possibly, and then maybe in the future, depending on how things work out for me, possibly create my own publishing company for my other books. But that is so far in the future. I am just focusing on finishing Villainess From the Stars right now. And that's my main goal. I'm just focusing at one project at a time. What content do you bring to the Authortube table? Like I spoke before, I feel like there's not enough author-tubers out there that focus on how to help other chronic illness authors. I know of a couple off the top of my head, but I can't remember the names. If I remember, I will place them in the doobly-doo downstairs. But there's not as many as I'd like, and I feel a lot of them feel the pressure to write things that are in the mainstream, and which is great for them. If they can do that, that's wonderful. I just kind of hope to bring forth something new to all of us that are tired or have anxiety or that kind of thing, is that we can enjoy beautiful worlds of fantasy without being overwhelmed and still have fun. So that was a bit of a ramble. Alrighty, next question. What's your biggest writing struggle? I have a hard time with beginnings, and then that moment where you've gone as far as you've, like, you hit your middle, that weird, not quite the middle, but like right before the climax, and like you know what the climax is, but that weird in between where you know something needs to happen. It can't be, you can't just jump from where you were to the climax because of reasons. And so that weird in between scene / chapter that you're just like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That little segment. Also getting words on the page when it's a blank page. So I've taken up to writing in my outlines, like full blown out scenes to help, or in my, when I write inside my Keep, inside my Android, that also helps. So if you have notes on your iPad or notes on the things, I find that really helps. Just whenever I have thoughts, whenever I have an idea, just write it down as quickly as I can, and then that helps me to continue. All right, and then last but not least, I have to choose my best Authortube tip, because I've been on here before. Just get started. I feel like that's something that everyone says, but I feel like once you're at that point where you feel you can get started, don't worry about lighting and all that thing. I just opened a nice window, pulled up my iPad, and started filming today. I hear the best time to start filming is during NaNoWriMo time. So right now it's Preptober, so I thought I'd do my reintroduction into Authortube now, and I would suggest you do the same. If you want to get reintroduced or you haven't been introduced yet, jump into the fold of all of us that are scrambling to get our words together for NaNoWriMo, because that's when a lot of the community comes out. When you're on Twitter, Tumblr, everywhere, everyone's, you know, just it can get really wonderful during NaNoWriMo, and I would just definitely suggest jumping into the fro during this time, because on one hand it's not so much pressure because there's so many of us that are coming forward during this time, the old and the new, that I don't think you'll get lost, because a lot of people are looking for other buddies during this time with these tags, so you will get noticed, but at the same time there's not so much pressure, I think, than other YouTubers to be introduced. So that's what I would suggest. Just jump in and have fun and seek out authors that are like you and those that aren't like you but have personality like you, but also write like you. I also love looking at map makers and that kind of thing. Get into that feeling of creating worlds, and then you don't have so much to worry about, I don't think. You find me on Instagram at author Celestia Sharp, or Twitch at author Celestia Sharp, or Twitter author Celestia Sharp, or Tumblr author Celestia Sharp. See the theme here. Or TikTok author Celestia Sharp. I am there all across the board, so if you need a buddy in writing, just let me know.